Welcome back to Marvel Mondays. I am Mike.
And I am Brandon.
Thought I'd add the snap to it.
Yeah, there you go.
Uh, so, so how was your? So, just up front, this episode's gonna post a little late because Brandon and I both just got back from vacations and didn't get a chance to record to get this up for midnight. But it'll be up by noon, I think, probably Eastern time. So, if you were waiting for it, we apologize. But let's face it, who was waiting for it?
hmm I imagine
So,
a lot of
how?
people.
Yeah, maybe a few. Um, so anything? Oh, who's that guy back there? Anything interesting happen on your vacation?
Yeah, just a lot of late nights, a lot of fun.
Good. That's good. Mine
You were
too.
on a cruise, so
I was on a cruise. Yeah, I was on a boat, and that was a
yeah,
lot of fun. So,
yeah. I was
hey,
the opposite. I was landlocked.
yeah. The weird thing for me was like sitting on the boat watching the Punisher special on my iPad. That was interesting. So,
Yeah.
let's get right into it. That was our first topic of discussion today. Was the Punisher One Last Kill, which
Mm,
I the title I don't quite get, but I have a few
yeah.
things about it that I don't quite get. So
Yeah.
give me your thoughts.
Yeah. So I didn't get to watch the entire Punisher series, but I watched. I believe it was all of season one of the Marvel Punisher series
Right.
or the Netflix Punisher series. Um, so after watching that and then tying it in with Born Again season one, I'm just confused about how Punisher got there because it
Yeah.
feels. I don't know if they're saying that that Netflix series actually wasn't canon to the MCU because he's repeating a lot of what I thought he worked through. Because
Right.
in Born Again season one, it seems like he was past all of the trauma and everything that he
Right.
had,
Right.
and then I don't know, fell right back into it.
Yeah.
Unless it happens in season two, I don't remember was it the Nuki crime
Yeah.
family being
Yeah.
involved in his family's death at all. So there's a
So
lot of it that I don't know. It was supposed to answer questions, and I feel like it left me with more, and
yeah.
it didn't set up Brand New Day at all. I
Yeah.
still don't know how him and Spider-Man are going to even get to know each other, and maybe that's
Right.
set up in Brand New Day. But then, what's the point of the special?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they when they originally introduced the Punisher, I think it was in I forget if it was season one or season two. It might have been season two of Daredevil, the original Netflix Daredevil series. He was like taking out crime organizations in New York, and that's where he got kind of mixed up with Matt Murdock. And so that part, there being a crime family that he was suddenly taken out, makes sense. But you're right. I'm wondering if the Netflix Punisher series is no longer canon because you saw the reason behind what happened to his family, and that had to do with his his involvement in some things related to the CIA and while he was in the military and all that. And it's even stranger to me because season two of The Punisher was kind of a wrap up of that whole thing with him.
Mm-hmm.
It's him trying to kind of move on and move away from the Punisher. He wasn't, he was going around as Pete Castiglione, and he, he wasn't even like in the beginning of it. He wasn't, he was just like working construction, and then he gets mixed up with this young girl who was in some trouble and trying to help her out, and then it gets tied back to the Billy character, the Russo character from the first season, and he's back in it and that kind of thing. But like the end of that series, it's like he's he's kind of past all that, and so for this to be like, especially again to your point after Born Again season one rather, where that ends with him escaping from Fisk's little prison there,
Hmm.
and you
Yeah,
think okay he's you know
and that's what confuses me because they're saying that it's taking place during season two of Born Again. So did he escape Fisk's prison just to go still kind of like
yeah
sulk about his family and go through all those same themes of what was going on before like that? I don't know.
yeah
It seemed like it would have done better had he not appeared in Born Again season one, because that appearance to me seemed like it was a sort of good continuation of the character
right
from where it was left off, and now this seems like it's almost reverting back to,
yeah. And the
I don't
only
know,
thing I'm
it's a
I'm trying to
reintroduction of the character.
yeah, that's what it felt like. It felt like they were trying to reintroduce that character maybe to audiences who hadn't seen the previous kind of version of him and had were just like looking to figure out who this guy was. But
Mm.
I'm trying to remember now in season 1 when he showed up of Daredevil Born Again, was his in his apartment when Matt goes there, did he have all that stuff on the wall of all the the ties between different, so I mean it
That's a
could
good
be
point.
that maybe
No, I just said that was a good point. I would have to go back and watch that.
yeah, I feel like maybe that was the case, like when Matt was in his apartment talking to him, that might have been the case. And so maybe what they're saying is that some point after the end of season 2 he found out about this other crime family that was somehow involved in it, and he wanted to take them out. I don't know that part. I don't know. I am anxious to see how they tie it into Spider-Man, because to your point, they didn't do like, I don't think they did anything to tie it to Spider-Man unless there was stuff that I missed, stuff that I didn't
Yeah.
catch. I only watched it once. Usually with things like that, I like to watch them a couple times to look for that stuff. Um, but I was on a cruise ship, so
Yeah. I think but this is what I'm saying. Why it was a good series, but it just left me with more questions.
yeah,
It
yeah,
didn't do a good job of answering any of what I thought that there
yeah.
would be in it.
And
It-
and one
And
other
even when
question,
you consider that it was supposed to take place during season two, but like there's nothing that is going on that you would say, oh yeah, that's happening during season two.
right, right, because although it was, I'm trying to figure out if he was still supposed to be in like, I don't know where he was supposed to be located. Obviously, he was in New York, but like where in New York was he supposed to be located? Because maybe that would explain it. Although at this point, Fisk's
It said
mayor of New York.
Little
Yeah,
Sicily, right? I don't know if
so
that's
he's
an
not in
actual
Hell's
place
Kitchen.
or
Yeah,
yeah.
it is. So he wasn't in Hell's Kitchen, but Fisk is mayor of all of New York, and I would think his anti-vigilante task force
Hmm.
would have been all over that if that was during that time frame. So that
Yeah.
felt a little weird to me, that they didn't really, like, they didn't even show any of those people. It was just like, as if like crime in Little Sicily was just rampant.
Hmm.
I thought the part with the dog, with the guy's dog, I think it
Oh
was a
yeah.
Marine with that guy's dog, that was tough. That was really
Yeah.
tough.
I didn't expect that. And that happened like
No,
right
I
away
didn't either.
too.
Yeah, I didn't expect that at all.
Yeah.
Um, but
Camo.
so
Camo was the name, right?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah, poor
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm sure at the end it said no animals were harmed during the filming of this, so I'm sure the dog's fine. It was
Yeah,
just,
and we got redemption. Punisher killed
yeah,
that guy,
exactly,
so
exactly. He took care of that. Um, so now let's move on to the next obvious thing, which would be the other Spider-Man, not that one. Um, because it's not really a trailer, but a new like kind of preview thing came out. I think it was on Sony. I don't know if Marvel played out too. I saw it on Sony's YouTube channel,
Mhm.
that showed some new scenes, and I had heard somewhere that it confirmed that the Sadie Sink character is Jean Grey. So, which with everything they've shown, that makes sense. But also, you know how Marvel is about putting things in trailers that mislead you. So that always plays in
Yeah.
my mind, right? That
Okay.
like, is that really what's going on, or is it the typical thing of misleading you? It's the Hulk
Yeah.
showing up in the Battle of Wakanda, and the Hulk wasn't at the Battle of Wakanda.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
So there was this character from the old Spider-Man animated series. I think it was like Firestar or something like that. It was like, was it? It was like Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, or is that the Disney one? It
Yeah, I
was
think
one of
that's a
those,
Disney one.
um, like the old animated series, and they said that they created that character Firestar because they couldn't use the X-Men characters because that was like under a different license. But that Firestar, I guess, became like synonymous with Spider-Man then because that was the only place that she was showing up outside of. Eventually, like they would write her into the comics, I guess.
Mhm.
I almost wonder if they would do something like that to where it would be not Jean Grey, but similar powers to Jean Grey, you
Right,
know,
right,
and they would introduce her there. But the only thing that
right,
has me like, yeah, it's definitely Jean Grey is because they talk about that Sadie Sink showing up in Secret Wars.
right,
And why would this
right,
sort of random character, like side character, that would be like
right.
them confirming that Ned Leeds is going to show up and, you know,
Yeah,
like, oh,
yeah,
cool. Didn't really need to know that though,
yeah, yeah.
you
That's
know?
true. That's a good point. Yeah, and I mean, so the one, I think was it part of the thing that Sony put out, or was it elsewhere? Is that shot of Frank Castle standing next to, let's just say, Jean Grey. Let's assume that's who it is, or let's just say the Sadie Sink, the two yet be confirmed Sadie Sink character.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the one thing was based on that, and then the scene of Spider-Man kind of not exactly fighting, Frank, but sort of. And it was suggesting that Frank's trying to help her with whatever she's trying to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming the mind control thing with the scene with the old lady, driving the tank and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And that, Peter doesn't know what they're doing yet, or something to that effect. I think there's going to be a lot in this story because when you look at all of the villains that are already confirmed, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and then you look at like that aspect of the storyline and not quite knowing what's going to go on there. I think there's going to be a lot going on in this story.
Yeah, and I hope Sony's synonymous. Couldn't say the word there. Sony's synonymous. That's why it's like right. Sony
Yeah,
synonymous. Um, but they always do that with their Spider-Man films. They did that with
yeah,
Spider-Man 3 when they were trying to put in like all these villains, and
mm-hmm,
then they did it in Amazing Spider-Man 2 where
mm-hmm.
it's like they just
That's true.
overload it with the characters. And I'm hoping
Right,
that this isn't what's going on here, but you look at they had the Scorpion already confirmed. You're gonna have Punisher in it. We know Banner's in it. The leaks and rumors say that Hulk is gonna appear.
right,
And then you have the Hand that
right,
they showed was in it. Tarantula, potentially Jean Grey.
right.
Like I hope that it's just not where there's so much packed into it that it's hard to even keep your head wrapped around like one
Yeah.
storyline. You know?
Yeah, and then somehow the story gets lost in it. I hope that's not the case too. I
Yeah.
do. There's a reason that we have Miles Morales here behind me. And if you're just listening, there's a painting of Miles Morales behind me. If you're watching, that's Miles Morales. Um, but I was thinking about the scene with the hand where it's like, okay, there's definitely other characters in this scene. And I thought, what if this, Marvel, what if one of those characters, nobody's talked about this, right? But what if one of those characters that shows up, because everybody's been, conjecturing that, oh, well, maybe it's the Punisher and Daredevil, working with him, or maybe it's the Hulk and, working with him. What if they bring Miles Morales in now? Like, what if that's what the plan is? Thoughts?
Maybe. Yeah, I mean,
That's all.
I hope not. I hope not. I hope
Yeah,
not, because that would just add another storyline then of making it too complicated. I would like to see Miles show
true.
up at the end of this trilogy now. I feel like you're just getting into adult Spider-Man or adult Peter
Right,
Parker Spider-Man.
right,
I think
right,
that would be cool if after, like, maybe in the third film or something, you get Miles in there,
right.
or I don't know. I wouldn't like Miles to be Spider Man right now. If they introduced Miles, it would be like he's Peter's like mentor or something like
Right,
that, or like
right.
a
Well, in the
understudy or something
what
like
it,
that. You know?
what do they call him in the kids Spider-Man series? They call the Miles Morales character Spin. He's not Spider-Man, he's Spin. So maybe that's what they'll do. I don't
Yeah.
know if they do that. That would be weird. Um,
Yeah.
I don't also know if there's any comic book like I just that thought came to my mind of what if that's what it is? If it's actually going to be that Miles Morales is going to show up now, because there's all the theories on the man spider, but there's also
Hmm.
I'm seeing more theories now that what's actually going to be happening to him is going to be related to the symbiote that came into the
Hmm.
616, at the end of the Venom series.
Hmm.
Um, and that maybe that's what happens to him.
Hmm.
Um, so that I'm interested in, but again, that's another aspect to the storyline, right? That there's going to be a lot going on in this movie, and I just hope it's not too much. I mean, if you look at No Way Home, they did have a lot of villains in that movie. They had a
Hmm.
lot of Spider-Man villains in that movie. And they also had Doctor Strange in that movie. And, so there was a lot going on in that movie. The story, though, I think came together well. I hope that's the case here. I hope it's the same kind of thing and
Yeah.
not just all over the place that, you can't keep track.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and nothing.
Did you see, talking about the stuff that they released? They released a poster I saw on Instagram, and they
Yeah.
had like the tagline, the caption was something like "the world forgot about Peter, but he didn't forget about the world," something
Right.
like that. So I
Right.
feel like that's gonna also. I I don't know if they meant that in relation to like Spider-Man still gonna be a hero, and fight for people,
Right.
or if they meant it in the sense of like Peter didn't forget about like MJ, Ned, like all of
Right.
those people. But I feel like that's going to be a big part of it too. Is that
Right.
like Peter's really still trying to figure out like how to keep that promise from No Way Home of like I'll
Right.
make you remember me when he
Right.
said that to
Right.
MJ.
Right.
So I feel like
Yeah.
that's gonna play a big part of the story too.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, especially when you think of the trailer and him kind of reading the new version of the letter that he wrote, that he had at the end of No Way Home. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I hope that's part of the story too. But we only have not too long till that one comes out too. So
About 2 months now.
yeah, and hopefully we'll start seeing more because as it gets closer, you'll start seeing more. I think TV advertisements, TV spots for it. That'll
Mm-hmm.
probably have slightly different scenes. Like there was a different scene that showed up in that latest thing they put out, where it was him receiving the key, Spider-Man receiving the key to the city, and Ned and MJ watching it on TV.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
that
that was in
that
the
was it.
that
And
was in the first trailer too, I think.
what? Oh, how did
I
I miss
think it
that in the
was.
first one? Maybe it was. I know the
It was
scene of
it
him
was
getting the key
quick. It
was.
was
I didn't
really
remember
quick in the
that.
first one.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, that. And there was something else
What
I
the,
saw too.
you know
I
the
guess.
you know the theory of them watching the thing ties into that they're trying to people were theorizing that it's going to be that MJ and Ned remember being friends with Spider-Man, but they don't remember who Spider-Man was. Like
Right.
they have all these memories of Spider-Man, but they don't
Right.
remember who Spider-Man was. So they're also trying to figure out who's under the mask.
Yeah, and that I think there's one scene where there's like a board on the wall, and it's all
Mm-hmm,
this Spider-Man stuff. And one of the theories is that their one teacher, which is
mm-hmm,
hilarious, the that it was him and that. So yeah, that's true. That aspect of it is gonna be cool.
yeah.
Um, and then nothing really new though recently that came out that I've heard anyway or that I've read about any of the Doomsday stuff, which I guess is kind of to be expected maybe,
Mm-hmm.
because we did just get the Punisher and now things are ramping up more I think towards Spider-Man and maybe after that, especially depending on what the post-credit scenes in Spider-Man look like, which may not at all have anything to do with Doomsday because I don't believe Spider-Man appears in Doomsday. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering, I'm trying to think back if they've ever even had anything noteworthy in the Spider-Man post-credits that led to other
Well, hmm.
Marvel films. No Way Home, it was just the trailer to Doctor Strange, so it wasn't like they had some huge reveal. Homecoming, it
Right.
was the Captain America one. I can't remember the
Yeah.
other one.
Yeah.
And then, like, I almost wonder if because it's technically a Sony project, if Marvel kind of shies away from.
From doing real
Yeah,
reveals in there. Yeah, that's a good point. Now that you say that, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I guess they're yeah. I got to go back
but
and look at that because now I'm not sure.
but we're getting close to the NBA Finals too, which is the point where some people said we would be getting the Doomsday trailer.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see. Well, basketball's still going on. I stopped paying
Yeah,
attention when the Sixers got knocked out, so
it
I haven't
ended
even
in
been.
April.
Yeah, I know. It's just it's so crazy because that's how it is with sports. Like, has the Stanley Cup final happened yet? I don't even know because I stopped paying attention. Like, and it
Yeah,
feels like it's been like 2 months now since I stopped paying attention to it. Matter of fact,
yeah,
the other day there was something on about the NBA, and I was like, oh yeah, when did the Sixers play next? And then I realized and I started to cry. Um,
yeah.
so yeah. All right, well, that's all we got this week. Just a little bit on our thoughts on the Punisher, and if you watch the Punisher, and I mean, I've read a lot of people's comments on it. A lot of people liked it. A lot of people didn't. I was surprised. I read a lot of hate for John Barenthal, his portrayal of the Punisher, which I thought has been really good. Like, well, let's put it
No,
this way: I think his
it was
portrayal
a
of Frank Castle has been great. You know,
it was a good special. It was just uh, it would have
confusing.
worked better if they just never introduced him in Born Again and said this is a new Punisher. That Netflix
Yeah,
series doesn't. It's not canon.
yeah. Yeah, it didn't happen. Yeah. Yeah, which I
Yeah.
think would be a shame because I think that was a good series. I don't know how, like, fans of the comics a lot of times feel different. But
Mhm.
I thought it was a good series. And you're right. I thought the special was good. I just confused me a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
cool. All right. Well, that's all we got for this week. Be sure to check out our regular A&M podcast episode tomorrow, and our next true crime stories one on Thursday. And thanks for watching or listening.
Thanks, everyone.